This is a brief tutorial of the game Lost Cities on Board Game Arena. Lost Cities is a game where you are playing two-player and building out rows of numbered cards called expeditions, and you're trying to gauge what your opponent has versus what you have and making sure that you can complete those expeditions so you don't get negative points. So as you can see here, there are 5 piles or rows, one for each color: yellow, blue, white, green, and red. And there will be cards in your hand, 8 cards in your hand at all times, that have specific numbers for each of those expeditions or colors. You'll see there, so for each color in the deck, there's exactly one of each number 2 to 10, 2, 3, 4, all the way to 10. And then there are 3 of each color of these handshake cards. You can see these handshakes. The game is very simple. You're building rows of numbered cards, and the rules for placing a card in your row is that you have to be in increasing value at all times. So if you have a 5 down on a row, you cannot put a 4 on top of it. You have to put 6 or higher on top of that. So in the yellow, I could put 3, 4, and 6, but I could not put 3, 6, then 4. You can skip as many as you want. I could put 3, then 10, but you might not want to do that for various reasons. An expedition, if you start an expedition, meaning if you place at least one card in one of the rows on your side, that means you will score for that expedition. You will score for that color at the end of the round. The problem is that each color, each expedition costs 20 points. And so you only score what you have added up above that value of 20. Anything below that value of 20 will be negative points. So if I build out this 3, 4, and 6, that's 13 points in this yellow column. That is not enough to get positive points for that expedition. At that point, I would have negative 7 points because it costs 20 to start that. If I never put anything around yellow, then I wouldn't lose any points. But as soon as I start one yellow card, then I have to get at least 20 to score positive points out of that. So if I had 13 and then maybe I had a yellow 10, that would be 23 points total, and it would get me 3 points for the yellows. The handshakes have to always be placed first, and they will double or could triple the score that you end up with, positive or negative. So if I had 2 yellows in that same situation where I had 3, 4, 6, and I had 2 yellows in that above that, it would take that negative 7, because I didn't hit 20, and multiply it times 3, and so it would be negative 21. But if I had 23 points on that expedition with the 2 handshakes, it would take that 3 points profit, or that 3 points above 20 that you get, and multiply that times 3, and I'd get 9 points. So there's a bit of riskiness in putting those handshakes down, but they will pay off if you can complete those expeditions, and there's a lot of reward that can come from that. So the game is play a card, draw a card, and that's it. When you play a card, you can either play it on one of these rows, or you can discard it in one of these piles. When you draw a card, you can either draw it from the deck, or you can draw the top card from one of these piles. So remember, if you're discarding onto one of these piles, your opponent would have access to that. So you have to be careful what you discard so that you don't give them something that they need. So let's walk through a few turns here. So my opponent put that blue handshake down as their first. So I know that they're trying to go for blue. Well, I've got a couple of blue cards, but maybe not enough to do a full expedition. I certainly wouldn't discard this handshake card for them or this 5 for them, because they would pick that right up and it would be useful to them. So I'm just going to discard this 9. That was probably not a great idea to do, but because they ended up picking up that 9 right after that. But you see, I drew. Now I have this yellow one, and that's going to be a full expedition. That's 22 points right there. So I know I can complete yellow if I can get them all down. So I know I'm wanting to go for yellow, but maybe I want to look for a handshake so I can multiply the points on that. So see, they put that 2 down and drew that 9. I really shouldn't have put that down, because 9s and 10s themselves can almost complete an expedition, so they're valuable cards. That was a mistake on my end. You can see there's this running point total over here. So my opponent here already has negative 58 points. As soon as you place one of those handshakes, because it's 0 points, that right now is negative 40, just because that hasn't been completed. So don't be scared if you go negative right away. It's just tracking that along the way for you instead of calculating it at the end of the round. Those negative points they should come back to positive as long as you aren't spreading yourself too thin and completing the expeditions that you're starting. So I just decided, okay, I won't wait for a handshake. I'll just start from 3. And there I have a white one. And so this is just going back and forth. Now see, I discarded that because I didn't want to deal with blue. But they can't take the blue because they've already played that 4. So that one is useless for them. So it's okay for me to discard that, which is nice because I don't want to play any of these yet. I just want to get rid of a card so that I can draw a new card from the deck. Now I see, oh, my greens are looking good. I think I'll probably do green as well. So I played my 4 because it's an obvious play. Like, there's nothing more I can do with that. But I'm trying to dig through that deck. Now the other big aspect of this is, so this is round 1, but the round ends immediately as soon as the last card from this deck is drawn. That comes much quicker than you think. So you need to play. You can't just think, because it's in my hand, I'll be able to play it. Because at the end of the round, you're going to have 8 cards in your hand that you're not going to be able to play. So there's a point when this starts getting lower that you need to make sure that you're finishing out and filling in and completing those expeditions before the round ends. And sometimes you're seeing your opponent that they've got some stuff they haven't finished yet, and you're trying to end the round more quickly because of that. So this is just going to keep going. I'll skip ahead here. Alright, it's just kind of fun to just watch this replay go through. So we're building each of our rows. They're focusing on blue and white. I decided to go in on red here because I can at least get 20 on it, but I'm hoping to get a little bit more. My yellow is great. I wish I'd had that handshake that I could have started it with, but it's still giving me good points. And alright, we're right at the end of the round, and this is kind of what it looks like. They did much better on this round than I did. They were able to finish 4 of their expeditions, and I was only able to finish 3. And they had some handshakes around there, so they got 59 and 37. Well, although I still have one more to play. I'm going to play this 10 here, so that'll give me 10 points to draw that. And you can see there's only 2 cards left after they draw theirs. Oh, actually, there's only 1 card, so this is my last turn. I play that 10. So I did time that out. I didn't start the blue or the white, and so I was able to just focus on those. And it turned out all right. It was close, 47 to 59. And that ends the round. You do this for 3 rounds, and whoever has the most points at the end of the game wins. Very simple. It's very much predicting what they want and what they have in their hand, remembering that there's only 1 of each type of card except 3 handshakes of each color, and then keeping an eye on that deck and making sure that you're getting all your cards out before that round ends. All right, hope that's helpful.